So sometimes you've talked about the practice of not giving things center stage. I'm just wondering what would be kind of a practical way of thinking about that, if it sounds abstract, and how you'd actually put it into practice.
Well, it refers to the things that are kind of pressuring you towards taking up the center stage, towards taking up all of your attention and the span. So the beginning of not giving the center stage comes down to making the right choices in terms of sensuality, ill will, and distraction. So if, say, you have a sensual desire that you consciously recognize, and you recognize that you could go along with the pressure, with less resistance, or say no to it, saying no to it, it's already not giving the center stage. So if you train in that in regard to the lust and ill will, hindrances in general, then you can start to discern these subtler acceptances of those states of mind on the mental level. So by that, kind of what I mean is like you can't be practicing not giving the center stage mentally if you would have already physically chosen to act out of ill will or sloth and torpor or five hindrances, sensuality, and so on. So that's how you practically go about it. You recognize that chitta, the animal, wants to pull you in the direction it wants to go, which is the center stage, figuratively speaking. So putting brakes on that, building up a certain, like a buffer zone, a certain sort of perimeter of containment, enduring it on the right level, all of those are other different ways of saying like not giving it the center stage it wants. So it's kind of important to recognize that this is inseparable from the lifestyle and lifestyle choices that pertain to the body and speech. Because obviously people can hear about peripheral awareness and yoniso manasikara, and think that they can just do that on top of the animal that's still allowed to act physically, verbally, and it's like, no, that's just going to remain abstraction. They will obviously then confuse a person in believing that they're actually practicing on the right level when they're not. But say you do train physically, you say no to things you should say no to, you don't follow the desires blindly, you don't act out of ill will, you endure things on the right level, then you will recognize when these pressures present themselves to say something unwholesome, to do something unwholesome, to think something unwholesome. And you recognize, okay, so I can't remove these images from my mind. I can't remove these thoughts that presented themselves. But I can certainly unfocus from them, to put it that way. Like I don't have to allow them to occupy the center and give them my attention in that sense. So that's like not giving it the center stage on that subtler mental level. So, and I said that before, like you don't need to start thinking about sensual thoughts to know that your mind is inclined sensually. You don't have to start thinking about specific people you don't like and ill will and anger and hatred to know that your mind is angry or hateful. Because you already know the state of the mind, and as a matter of fact, you know that if you were to give the center stage, you know what thoughts would crystallize as a result of it. You know that. You don't need to crystallize them to know what you already know. If I were to allow this, I know exactly what direction my thoughts will take in terms of sensuality or ill will and so on. So that's what I mean, like, by not allowing that, you're not allowing that center stage to grow and fester and proliferate and increase its strength and momentum. So you could have it at the back of your mind, say a nagging ill will. And you see it there, you recognize it real as such. You don't act out of it physically, and then I'm not going to stop doing whatever I'm doing in order to think about this, because I know exactly where those thoughts will go. If they take up that ill will, that's at the back of my mind, I know exactly what those thoughts will crystallize into. So you don't do it. You actually abstain from it. That's how, when the suttas describe purifying thoughts in their arising. In other words, seeing the basin from which those thoughts appear and recognizing it already as mind affected with ill will or mind not affected with ill will. Chitta affected with lust or chitta not affected with lust, and so on.
And so you were saying that just keeping precepts, just training and sense restraint and whatnot is already preventing you. It already implies you're keeping things off of center stage.
Well,
to a certain
degree.
extent.
To a degree.
Yeah. Is that because, like, take just sensuality, for instance. If you take on celibacy, it seems like if you really want to, like, solidify yourself in being celibate, you have to learn to cut things off sooner. Like, it's not just you let things go all the way until they get right to a certain point. You want...
Oh, you mean
like,
mentally?
Yeah, like mentally, like just the kind of, like, celibacy is not just constantly, like, sheerly resisting the already built up.
No, of course.
Yeah.
No.
So to an extent, you would have to learn
Well,
how to
again,
do
but
this
you would not
thinking
be
about
able
it.
to cut things off mentally on the level of such decision if physically you are not already withdrawn from those things. So physical withdrawal is already implied. In and of itself, yes, it's not going to automatically or magically result in purification. You could live physically withdrawn, but if you don't make the effort to, say, mentally understand the danger, the peril of those thoughts, through not allowing them the center stage where they occupy they take over the context basically, take over the reins, then it's like, you're not gonna be free from it. But you would be nowhere even in a position of deciding to not go back to sensuality or to refrain from doing so or not act out of ill will if you're already not to some degree developed ability to physically say no to those things. So he has to start from the bottom up. Yeah. It's not like, until I'm physically perfect, I shall not even think about mentally making effort. No, of course. It's it's like one thing kind of develops the other, but there is a certain order to like, you could be making all the mental effort you want. If physically you're still sitting in the water, you're not going to be drying yourself up at all. So that's kind of the recognition, which I guess it is useful because sometimes people would take even the 8 precepts in that blind manner, whereby I'll just blindly adhere to this, not make any effort to mentally, discern the danger, the center stage, where my mind leans to, what it prefers, what it doesn't prefer, and so on. And all of that will magically resolve itself simply by me adhering to these 8 commandments or something, but it won't. It provides us a basis for potential development, but if the effort is not invested towards that development, it won't occur.